Hello, welcome again to another rendition of No Filter Sports. I am your host, Brian 3SL, and on the bullet train to probably nowhere is Trump. He's down in Florida. He's former co-host here, and you're coming from. Oh, he popped out. There he is, back in. You actually, where are you on the train for?
I went to the Miami Marlins game,
Oh, okay.
and I'm on the right line back to Orlando now.
Okay, cool. How is their park? They keep changing their name. I think it's Lone Depot Park. I think now the name is.
Here,
So how is it?
here's the funny thing: the stadium is better than the team. The team doesn't deserve the stadium.
Mm.
The team does not deserve the stadium. No, it's a nice stadium. It's a very nice stadium, but the team that's in the stadium is crap.
I kind of figured that. Yeah, the Marlins are right now one of the worst teams in the National League. So, and their stadium is over $1 billion built, and the Tampa Bay Rays have been trying to get a new stadium for the last decade, and they can't even get a parking lot. So, but we'll see. But also in the mix, who just popped in her vehicle. It's not a bullet train like yours, but Miss Kiki. Hello.
Hi. Hey, Trump.
Hey, you how you been?
What up, though? Good. How about you?
I'm good. Actually on the train right now.
Well, I am doing Sunday activities, and I said, no, I got business to handle.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for allowing me to be a few minutes late, white man.
No problem. No problem. So,
I want to thank you too, Kiki, for them thirst traps you keep posting. I love it. Keep on doing your
I,
thing.
I, I do what I can with what I have.
You. Hey, look, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
If I don't do
Anyway,
shit else, I'm going to post that. If I don't do shit else.
yes. So, anywho, so before Trump loses, gets into a tunnel and all that stuff, um, today we're talking drafts. And we're not just talking about the NFL draft. We're going to start with the ladies first. The WNBA draft has blown up. I would initially like to start off the fact that Candace Parker earlier today announced her retirement from playing basketball. So she's played in the league for 16 years, which I am so flabbergasted has attractively young looking she's been with her all the years. Oh, we lost Trump. He went through the tunnel.
Yep,
Um,
I'm here.
you're still there. We'll get Trump back yet. But again, about Candace Parker, she played 16 years in the WNBA,
Okay.
won 3 titles with 3 different teams, and been MVP and all that stuff. So I commend her career. I believe now she'll be full time announcer, I guess. So we'll see how that goes. But I want to commend her career. She's a phenomenal talent, one a generational talent for years to come. So, but since her leaving, there'll be now new talent coming in to
Yes.
the WNBA, and of course, everyone was highly into this draft, mainly because of just one pick, and that was Caitlin Clark, who pretty much has dominated the women's basketball realm. Even though she's never won the national championship for 2 years straight, but overall she's still a top-notch talent, and her buzz has created a firestorm of changes in the WNBA, namely the fact that the Mystics had to change from out of their EA entertainment arts arena place in Southeast DC to go back to the Capital One Arena so they can accommodate her appearance. And it's kind of like it. Now I'm going to ask you, Kiki, is that for what she's doing, the Caitlin Clark buzz? How you feel that her being the number one pick and her buzz is going to carry into her first season in WNBA?
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I look at WNBA as one of those areas that We have to be glad to get what we get from whatever they have.
Mhm.
Whatever they have, we have to be glad to get it. As far as the retirement from 16 years, that's that's a long time. That's a lifetime in WNBA years. So I wanna wish her well in whatever her next thing is. I don't usually. Do you follow people after they leave?
What, leave college or leave college? You mean?
Yeah. Do you follow
Um,
people?
Not as I used to, because I feel like it's not like an attention span. I just feel like, um, depending on who they are, let's say this, especially let's say in the college game where I feel like they're just, to me, they're still amateurs.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's like, okay,
Still
they're
baby.
yeah, they're interesting, but I think someone like Caitlin Clark, and we'll get to some of the other players that were drafted, uh, big key players. I think, yeah, I'll keep my eye on them. But as for someone like from start to finish, if you hear the big buzz of somebody, I wouldn't necessarily follow them. It's just like, okay, well, no, we'll see where they go. But I think
Mhm.
in this day and age, where it comes to like someone overhypes a person, particular player, it kind of throws me off.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
I
I
get
think, yes, but I think someone like Hayden Clark, I mean, especially for a sport that's still growing, even though it's been 20 plus years
Yeah.
for the WNBA. But I just think that for her, helping this sport continue to grow, because a lot of their, like I said, someone like Candace Parker retired, Sue Bird retired. They want to continue to have some certain stars that can continue the thriving of this sport, and I think that that's what you kind of need for. You need someone like her. So
No,
what
I
was
agree.
yeah.
I agree. As far as the maturation of it, it's I don't know why it's in the baby. It's still baby stages. It's
Mhm.
still baby stages, but we appreciate those who step out there and make a difference. We always appreciate those people.
Yeah, and now I think that, the WNBA is first off, I want to like say Trump had, again, he's on the bullet train in Miami, and he's gone through a tunnel. So once he comes back on, we'll put him back on. Hopefully by the time we'll talk about the NBA draft, the NFL draft. I'm sorry,
Ah,
but I think due to the fact that with this, it's a thing that the WNBA they're re-expanding, so to speak. They're trying to get bigger again. Just noted the fact that the WNBA is thinking of expanding again. This time to one city or one area they used to be in. It said Southern Florida, because they used to have teams in Orlando and Miami back in the early '90s, back in the '90s period. Um, but now looking into other places of Nashville, Toronto, Philadelphia, and Denver. Um, with now again, with hopefully this added new exposure, which of those cities would you like to see a WNBA team if you're interested? But where would you like to see the WNBA like to expand? In any of those cities, or a different type of city?
I don't really care.
I,
I'm sorry. It's as much as I'm a woman and I should care. I don't really care. Like
mm,
I dropped off when like I picked up with Cheryl Swoops and them, right?
right.
But I dropped off with Cheryl Swoops and them. Now, like Brittany Griner had my interest. I was like, okay, let me see. But the fact that they treat them so differently from NBA players, I
Mm,
don't really give it as much airtime as I should. And,
mm.
and shoot me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I guess I respect that. For me, I'll answer that. I'll answer this. I would like to see them expand to one of the other cities they didn't mention, but they kind of, it's like in and out. It's been Portland, and it used to be in Portland. That's kind of iffy, but I would like for them to go to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is kind of a city that I think was hungry for it when they first initially came about, and there were a lot of the initial fan base were kind of surprised that Philadelphia wasn't one of the inaugural teams, or even the early. Yeah, so. But I would also like to see Toronto because one, it'll be internet. They get to be international. But I think the iffy part is a lot of people have, or a lot of the players, and I'm not just talking. A lot of players have issues with the what's the word I'm looking for, the communication or the business a business agreement between working in Toronto and working in the United States, because there's a lot of players in both Major League Baseball and the NBA had a lot of issues with working, playing in Toronto. So, but like I said, I would rather be Philly if they can get back to South Florida and South Florida can regain the fan base there. I think it'll be good because again, that type of community kind of works for the WNBA. So you mentioned earlier about the interest, and the thing is that I'm kind of glad you kind of mentioned that, because now women's basketball has kind of grown to the point where it's like a lot of people are dogging it, and those who are not fully aware of this sport in a sense. Mind you, women's basketball, and of course, you can add into women's soccer because those are the two really big sports for women that it's highly out there for a lot of people to be fully interested in. But the commentating of a lot of guys who I don't think are fully familiar with it are dogging it for something that they're not familiar with it. I mean, do you agree with that, or
I do.
How do you see that?
No, I do. I can see when you say that. I can see it that way. I agree.
I mean, if you check out some of the, especially like this most recent, I mean, a lot of things have been happening for a lot of women's sports. You have the Kansas City Current there. Oh, all right. Oh, he got through the tunnel. There it is. There is Trump.
Hi, Trump.
Yeah, back through the tunnel. Oh, he's still stumbling, but hopefully we'll see.
He's a little bumpy, so we can get him.
Yeah, we hear you. You see us? There you go.
The good Trump.
There you go.
There we go.
There we go. So Trump, we're talking about the new expansion of the WNBA and Caitlin Clark's popularity. Hopefully you can hold on to hearing this question. But how do you feel of how Caitlin Clark's new popularity helped give a new boost for the WNBA? If he's holding, oh, we lost him.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right, we'll hold on to him.
Okay.
All right, is he there? No,
you know what I wanted to say with regard to
all right.
The WNBA?
Yes. Oh.
I don't know what your thing is with Toronto. But Toronto, that you asked, Toronto will be last for me. Philly, I can see Philly. Toronto will be last for me. Like I tolerate Canada.
Okay. Like I said, I like to see the leagues in Canada. I like I would like to see how the NHL is. You got like 6 teams in Canada, but the thing is it's not me personally. It's just like there are a lot of business issues with players having issues playing in Canada because of taxes and stuff like that. So Trump, are you able to hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. Mainly, I want to reiterate the question for you again is about Caitlin Clark. She was like the top tier pick for the WNBA draft, and we're talking about the WNBA now. How do you feel about her and what type of impact she'll have for the WNBA once she gets into play this summer?
Oh, I think it'll be a huge impact. I think I'll actually watch it this year. I think I mean, I'm not saying every game, but I think I'll watch her game. What's the other girl's game? From LSU. Reese, what's her name?
Miss Reese. Yeah, the Bayou Beat. Yeah, the Bayou Bat Barbie.
I'll be intrigued because they have star power now. They never had that. Since they haven't had that since their first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You had Cheryl Swoops and you had.
I said that.
Yes, yeah, he said that.
She's absolutely right, and this is the first time I can remember since then that I'm actually looking forward to probably watching a game or two.
Okay.
Well, adding on, because I mentioned this to Kiki, how do you feel like the negative impact that this, not just the WNBA, but also the Women's Soccer League or women's sports in general, getting this negative connotation of, since their popularity has been growing for the last couple of years now?
I feel like it's going to take some time for that to dissipate because there is a threat. There's a threat, I think, behind women coming up and being good in these sports. It's still old school. A lot of people aren't up on the fact that it's here. Like athleticism, skills, sports. It's right here. It's no hierarchy there. But I think it's going to take some time for people to realize. And I think the LSU, the whole college thing, the whole Takari thing, like all that stuff is gonna get people to understand and make a parallel between the sports. So it's going to take some time, in my opinion.
All right, Trump.
What was the question? One more time.
How you see the negative impact or the negative dialogue that's been happening to these women's sports that they've been getting, especially since with Caitlin Clark, popularity and things of that nature. How do you feel that will this dissipate, or you feel it's like it's just going to continue?
The negative I don't see anything negative about it.
Well, pretty much there's some commentaries that feel like, well, why is Caitlin Clark getting all this popularity? She hasn't won anything. Why is Angel Reese, someone dogging Angel Reese for being emotional after getting knocked out of the Final Four and things of that nature? But pretty much a lot of
negativity.
Reporters, a lot of reporters are negatively commenting on things that they're not fully aware of. Let's put it that way.
Because they should be ignored. They're ridiculous. They need to be ignored. She's doing a great thing for the game. It's going to eventually benefit. I think all women will benefit from it eventually. They need to sit down and shut up. It has no effect on me. They just hate.
I agree.
Okay. Kiki kind of mentioned the fact about, do you follow a particular player from mainly from college going into the pros? Do you do that, or you feel like once they're in the pros, that's when I start following them?
It depends on how good they are in college. If they like Caitlin, I'll follow her now because of the buzz and because of how good she is. I will follow her, but it just depends on the player. If they're not creating a buzz, I can give to what.
Okay, that's true. So I want to little.
You didn't answer the question.
Huh?
Man,
go ahead.
You didn't answer it. Do you? Because you didn't. I don't believe I got a straight answer from you.
Oh, about following a player?
Yeah.
From college. I personally feel like I'm not I do follow. I haven't followed full college sports a lot. Even though I work in a university. Work with the university, but the thing is there's so many college players, and I just feel like following them from wherever to where they go to next is time consuming. If they're good, they're good. If it's an interest for any of my teams, to draft them, then I'll be like, okay, we should keep an eye on. There's like a small few like when Angel Reese was when she announced she was going to be available for the draft, I said, okay, Mystics need to get her. That's what that's initially that's what I felt the buzz was like, because I knew Caitlin Clark's going to she's going to Indiana because they have the number 1 pick, but I want just someone to help my local teams. So that's where the interest will be if I know full well how good this particular player is. But as for, let's say, from start to finish, no. I mean, like you said, like Trump said, if the buzz around a certain player is like, okay, that's good and all, but I just feel like it's a wait and see. So,
Yeah.
so to lastly read about the women's game in general, I mean, I want to add this the women's this past year's women's championship, the viewership has increased. Each year. So it's in. I'll show a graphic as you see. In 2019, in the championship game, it was 3.7 million viewers. The 2021 game, it had 4.1. Then 4.9 in the 2022 matchup between South Carolina and UConn. Then 9.9 million. That was the highest day ever between LSU and Iowa last year. And this past year between South Carolina and Iowa doubled up to 18.9 million viewers. I mean, you're talking about people. It's not just I as much I would like to say Caitlin Clark's impact, her star power, but also the fact that South Carolina is really good. And pretty much if you think about it, if Iowa wasn't in the finals, if it would have been LSU, and that would have probably gotten the same numbers because you got two teams who a lot of people are interested in watching. So I really think the WNBA is taking full advantage of the star power that they're getting, and hopefully this will continue on. And why not? So hopefully this will carry over into this upcoming season. So, but I know you too, Trump. I know you're a betting man. And Kiki, do you bet a lot?
Not a lot, but I do.
Not a lot, or do you bet at all? Okay.
At all, yes, I do.
All right. So since we've been away, there's been two betting scandals that has appeared out of nowhere. So O'Shea Otani's interpreter getting busted for betting on baseball games, and then Giovanna Porter of the then Toronto Raptors getting banned for life for betting on basketball games. Let alone, here's the funny part: you
gotta add the Tony from the NBA. The same thing.
Yeah, that's what I said. But here's the thing: with him, with him, he not only betted on other games, he betted on against his own team, against his own self. It got to the point where it's like, what the hell? So I mean, Pete Rose, he always betted on himself when he got busted. He said, "Yeah, I betted on my team. I bet on myself," because he was determined to win. But having a guy bet against your own team is funny to me. So
and then it was determined that you underperformed. Like it was proven. Yes.
So Trump went through a tunnel again. So we'll get him back on what's okay. But my thing is, since with FanDuel, DraftKings, Betting MGM, all these sport books and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Is this it? One, do you feel there's a hypocrisy of sports and betting nowadays?
No. The rules are what they are. It is what it is, and no, it's not a hypocrisy. I feel like the fact that there's a rise in sports betting and there is more of an availability of it doesn't change the rules. Doesn't change the rules. Like, no, fuck no. Excuse my French. Fuck no. You should, everything that happens to these people should be allowed to them. Now, what I do realize is that some people, the ban has been lifted because certain things are now into play. And guess what? When these things are overturned or the rules change, then unban them. But for right now, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not. For one, you can't give them a tip on, you can't. And then you can't shave. Point shaving has been a thing forever. You know this.
Right.
So you cannot do that. And for real, it is very suspect that you would bet against your team and against yourself because you have the power to affect two of those things. Mm-hmm. Your performance could affect the team. So you have power over that. You have power over yourself. Like, and then if you look at did you see the numbers that people were coming out of? They were coming off like 80,000 and almost $1 million. Like, you're affecting it negatively. So
Mhm.
no, I don't.
Yeah. I want to start with Otani first. I really think it started, if not a lot of people fully aware, is there was an FBI probe that sparked all this, and it got to the point where Sid,
That was the biggest thing ever.
getting freaked out over there. So there was an FBI probe that sparked, or FBI investigation probe, whatever you want to call it, that where his name appeared in a suspect's log, and it was appeared like many times, and it was like, okay, we need to talk to him. So, and the thing is, it's like, okay, I understand if it was Otani. Okay, here we go. This is where it gets weird because one, he's the biggest name in baseball right now, and I get the fact that it's like, okay, it's a big, huge, smear to the game if he's betting then. But the thing is like the way how this all crumbled was the fact that it was, oh no, it's the interpreter, and he got access to his money and all this stuff. It's like a lot of things are kind of weird of how it, I would say, unfolded and how it's ending, because mind you, they're not really talking about it right now because they're playing the game, and pretty much the interpreter has been thrown under the bus. But really, to me, it's kind of like, okay, when Otani did his quote unquote apology, or mentioned the fact of him saying like, hey, I'm not, I didn't really do this, I just felt like it was like, even though his English is not all that great, but I felt like that was your typical PR bullshit statement, to where it's like, no, I didn't do it. But really, it's like, really? I mean, how do you have a guy have that much access to your funds? And he's supposed to be an interpreter. He's not your accountant. He's your interpreter. So that's where I question that aspect.
That's suspect.
So, but getting to Porter's case, that dude, I mean, mind you, his brother, I mean, he had a decent career, but he's like, dude, I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's like, why would you bet against your own team? And
then be shocked and surprised when they come and bust you. Like,
yes.
What?
I mean, to me, it's like, honestly, I felt like he's not that great. Wasn't that great of a player. I understand if you felt like you needed some extra cash somewhere here or there. But I mean, damn, dude, it's like you're banned from basketball, period. You can't even be a head coach. You can't even be an agent. You can't do shit. I mean, it's like.
So because I'm sorry, respectfully.
No, go ahead.
He's banned from NBA. Is that NBA America, USA? Because can he go overseas and play?
I don't know. Because then again, because I think if you think about it, there's also the Olympic Committee and the IBF, because the International Basketball Federation, and they look into that stuff too. And those type of things, I mean, mind you, there's always been those iffy question marks about certain international teams being run by mobsters and stuff like that. But then again, but something like this, it's a stain on your record. So if he's able to play overseas, that's fine. But I think that I think they're the International Basketball Association, I think they're going to fully look into this, because I think I don't think you'll be able to play basketball again, for something like this. But this is where I want to lead to this question, because initially where I felt like, again, we have all these sport, betting places all over the place. It kind of brings back that main question is like, I get it. They serve their time. It's, especially someone like Pete Rose. I remember the Pete Rose incident. I had this issue with my father. I told him, it's like, just bring him back in, just reinstate him and put him in the Hall of Fame. It makes no sense to have your hit king not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I just think it's like he did, do you feel like a lifetime ban is too much?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I believe that's very harsh. I believe lifetime literally means till Jesus come and get you.
Mm-hmm.
It means till there are X's over your eyes, like till you cease to live. That's a long time for this very thing. When we have corrupt government officials, we have corrupt NBA officials. By the way, do you realize that movie Clipped just came out on Hulu with okay.
I'm familiar with that.
Okay. And he just happened. If I believe if he wasn't recorded, I'm using this as a purpose. If he wasn't recorded, then it wouldn't have been outed. So there are many things that are going around. I think that get less of a penalty or a consequence than that of black African American NFL players. Yes, the rule is wrong, but and you did some things, and you probably cost them a little bit of money. But I'm sure that wasn't even a tenth of the money you made. You know what I'm saying? And I think integrity comes into play, and there should be like an integrity-based penalty. It shouldn't be a lifetime ban because you realize how much money this person has made you. No, I don't say irregardless, is not a word. But regardless of what this little stain, we can go back to from the time that you drafted them to the time that they played. Like it's extreme. It's extreme.
Here for those who never seen this movie, it's one of my favorite baseball movies. It's called 8 Men Out.
Yeah.
And it's based off of the 1919 Black Sox scandal. And if no one is familiar why, it's like, what? There's a team called the Black Sox? Like, no, that's what it was known as. The 1919 Chicago White Sox. They had one top tier player, and their main player was Shoeless Joe Jackson. So apparently, 8 of the players on the White Sox team pretty much was part of a betting scandal, and that ended up where they end up losing to the Cincinnati Reds in the World Series. The thing though was, it's like Shoeless Joe Jackson played like normal. He was a lot of people know Shoeless Joe Jackson. He was I think in the modern day terms, he would be autistic. So he wasn't really, he just liked to play the game and all that stuff, and he played it very, very well. But in the end, he got caught up into this scandal. And pretty much the 8 out of 9, pretty much 8 players got lifetime bans of baseball. This is where initiated the beginning of the having commissioner of baseball, because the first commissioner of baseball was an actual judge, and so apparently they had to do proper investigations on how this transpired. So pretty much, it was actually a organized crime group that came in, talked to some of the guys, gave them extra money and all that stuff. And that was weird things. Even back then, the teams who played in the World Series, they get a little money boost, but the money that they were getting was kind of odd, because the White Sox at the time, they were pretty much the premier favorite to win the World Series. And the manager was kind of wondering, it was kind of weird the way they were playing and allowing the Reds to come in and win that game. So that game alone, or that year alone, it kind of ruined baseball in a sense, because they figured it's like baseball, it's America's, even though then it wasn't fully known as America's pastime, but it was very pristine, it was clean, and figured it's like, okay, we this is how can he stainless like that? So someone cheated for another, even though the Reds won, but then again, it's like the White Sox somehow lose, but they went winning again. It just didn't seem right. But again, Shoeless Joe Jackson got banned. He was like I said, caught up into this, and he's banned for life, even though his numbers show the fact that he should be in the Hall of Fame. Can't. And then, you add in, 70 plus years later, you get Pete Rose doing the exact same thing, just himself. And, he did it as a manager, not as a player. But unfortunately, he can't get in as a player, to the Hall of Fame. Now, Ohtani, if there's proper investigation, I really believe there's a lot of people are protecting him because they don't want to, it's like he's such a good player. And they don't want to tarnish not only his career or anything like that. I mean, this is like his third year in baseball, fourth year in baseball, in Major League Baseball. And seeing him get this type of stain on his record, it would hurt him. Him going back to Japan, excuse me, and not play American baseball ever again. He could go back to Japan if he wanted to, but but here I just feel like there's some shadiness that needs to be properly investigated, and I don't think that we're gonna get actual full answers until Ohtani retires, because I just feel like they're just protecting him, because I that's how I see it. But
for what reason, though?
I again, because if he did this on, I mean, it doesn't make sense for him to have an interpreter have access. I still say this, the interpreter have access to his funds. I just don't get that. He's just there to speak, help speak for me. That's it.
That's it.
And yeah, but him saying it's like, no, I'm the one. He really mentioned about the financial troubles. And it's like, how do you have financial troubles? You're with the most highest paid player in baseball right now. I mean, you probably get whatever amount of money you're getting in American dollars, and you converted that into yen, it'll probably triple that or quadruple that. And you're sitting there telling me it's like you having financial troubles? I don't get it. There's a lot of holes here. And I just think that a lot of more holes, a lot of more questions. And like I said, I will continue to say, I really think Ohtani is just being protected because I don't think baseball wants to have another scandal, another betting scandal, after these had to deal with Pete Rose one. And I feel like, but the real key thing here is the fact it's like, I really believe that with the, with all these sports betting things happening, being integrated into sports in general, I really think it's too tempting. I just feel like it's like, okay, I like I said, asked you earlier, it was like, do you feel there's hypocrisy here? And I think there is. I just think it's like you can't ban, something that you're promoting. It just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of question marks in something like this. I mean, you keep fearing the fact that it's like, oh, we want to keep the integrity of the game, but then again, you got point shaving here, you got guys barely playing here, and stuff like that, and minute shaving as they call it. There's a lot of question marks and a lot of things that makes people want to say it's like, okay, why you want to ban a person that you promote that you're doing? I just don't get it. And on top of that, you're going to the capital of gambling. You got teams in the capital of gambling. I mean, come on. I don't know.
It may be silly, but I would have to ask a few questions. Are they in your conference? Are they in the same sports arena? Are they in the same, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's me.
You understand what I'm saying, right? Like that would to me be the difference. But it's corrupt, it's extreme, it's harsh, but I guess the accountability for the people who are doing it, you knew it. So what can we say?
Yeah, it's America. That's what she just said. It's America.
KKK. America, KKK.
So, hopefully we're trying to get Trump back in. He's still going through the tunnel in Miami. But if not, we're going to our main topic because we're going back to the draft. The NFL draft. So this weekend, the NFL draft happened in Detroit. I will say that like that. It just happened. It was very interesting for ESPN, for the NFL Network, for a lot of the fans that were out there and stuff like that. But yeah, it just happened. I'm going to backtrack a little bit with that. First off,
Okay.
Roger Goodell. One, he needs to, if you're going to treat this like a very corporate event, I don't know why you have your top button unbuttoned, you're trying to be all cool and stuff, for the fans.
No, it becomes some nigga shit then.
Yes. So initially, I want to throw this to you. Initially, of course, they always have the, his press conference before the draft or what have you. And he mentioned the fact about, again, the league expanding to 18 games. I've been talking about that for a long, long time. So, and he said, yeah, we want to do that. So where he said, like, we will also try to push the date of the Super Bowl. So
forward or back?
No, forwards. So meaning that the Super Bowl will fall on the third week of February now. Initially, the reason I'm gonna give you a little quick history. The reason why we're in February is because of 9/11. That's it. So that's why the Super Bowl is in, and it's been expanding ever since. So we got into the second week of February because they wanted to have that week off until the Super Bowl. That's fine. Now you're pushing with an 18-week schedule. You're now pushing it into the third week of February, which is President's Day weekend. Miss Kiki, I'm going to give you another thing. There is another event that happens during President's Day weekend. Do you know what that event is?
That's the January thing?
No, this is in February. We're in February. So if the Super Bowl goes into that third week of February, which is President's Day weekend, there's another event that also happens during that weekend.
The third week in February?
Yep, the third week of February, the beginning of the third week of February, that President's Day weekend, there's another event that happens.
I probably should know this, but I don't. February, what is it? I'm sorry, I'm terrible.
Okay, no problem. I'll give you to it. So apparently, you are now, the Super Bowl will be competing with the NBA All-Star Game weekend.
Oh, you mean the Super Bowl? Like
yes, the Super Bowl. Yes. So if the NFL. Yes, so if the Super Bowl goes to that President's Day weekend, everyone's been saying is like, oh, I need a holiday, to recover from the Super Bowl. So they figure it's like, okay, have it on President's Day weekend, but you also have the NBA All-Star Game weekend on President's Day weekend. So now the NFL has dipped into the NBA's sporting event. Pretty much, they're becoming the Grinch that stole Christmas, so to speak, because this past year, they had the NFL games on Christmas Day.
Yep.
The ratings blew the roof. No one watched barely anybody watched the NBA games. Mm-hmm. And then now you're taking their President's Day weekend away from pretty much their All-Star Game weekend. So it's kind of like you're pretty much screwing the NBA.
The same thing will happen again.
Yes.
So, you know what? Again, I said earlier, and I'm going to repeat it. It's going to take some time. I think they're going to get shit upon until something takes place, and then they will push forward. Like I said to you, it's going to take some time for them to get the respect that they deserve. And then, who in the NBA and who in the WNBA camp is saying what you're noticing? Who did you pick that from somewhere, or did you just happen to notice? Because who the fuck is not calling somebody? 911? Hello? Who's not calling someone? Especially Big Four. Wait, we got a year and a month before any of the, like we got a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, we're not sure of when if they're gonna do this soon or not. But again, they have the Super Bowl taking over President's Day weekend, which is normally the NBA's spot. I really think this proves like the NFL is pretty much bullying through a lot of this stuff. And I really think a lot of people really need to take a look because again, they're trying to dominate to make NFL to be talked about 24/7, 365, all that shit. And I feel like, no, there was a time where it's like the NFL needs a break. I don't need to talk about the NFL. I don't need to worry about, again, draft picks. I don't need to worry about contracts. I don't need to worry about none of that. Once I see my team come in August, I'm good. But I need a break. And I feel like the NFL, I don't know what, I think Roger Goodell leading this charge of taking over the sports calendar for the NFL. It's to me is like, I don't know. You need separation. There's a reason why it's like this is for this is for that. I don't need you for to be taking over certain things for a lot of people. Mind you, we should get a holiday for the Super Bowl. I get it. That's a let our government handle that. But all in all, I just think that you dominating President's Day weekend and wiping off. Mind you, let's keep in mind the NBA All-Star Weekend is a piece of shit anyway. The only people
say that. You always say that.
No, let's say this: the slam dunk contest is not interesting anymore. The 3-point contest is the most interesting. Yeah, pretty much for All-Star Saturday is the only interesting thing. But everyone has stated, I kid you not, has stated the fact like the slam dunking contest is not that interesting.
I heard that.
Yeah, the 3-point contest is now like the new thing. Pretty much the celebrity game is pretty good. And as for the main game itself, it's a piece of shit. So, and then, for people to go to certain places, I mean, this past year's All-Star game was in Indianapolis. Not a lot of people were fond of being in Indianapolis. They want to go to fun places, and they, you had it in Vegas a couple of years. You've had it in LA. Charlotte was pretty decent. But going to certain places that are like hit towns, or so to speak. I know, no offense, but places like Indianapolis or Cleveland, and stuff that is not I wouldn't want to visit unless I have family there. I just don't understand going there.
They would have to give me money to move there. They would have to pay me to move there. I agree.
Mm-hmm. So, but anyway. So let's go to the draft. Again, Trump was just taking a bullet train back home from Miami, and hopefully he'll pop on for this. But if not, we'll catch him on next time. How did you feel about your team and the draft? Well, let's say first, how did you feel about the draft itself?
Oh, okay. Let me reserve my comment for my team. I was very happy for Washington. I was very happy for Chicago. I believe who stood out to me. I think the Saints stood out to me. Dallas. I feel like I don't know what we're waiting for. Like I don't know what we're waiting for. And I think the things that I could be suffering from, jealousy. I could be suffering from something that I have no business suffering from, because just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean we have to do it. I understand the players we have, the talent or skill that they possess, and what their impact is on the team. So I understand that. So when I look at an opportunity to increase or upgrade that, and that's not taken, I find myself looking crazy. And that is my situation in a nutshell. Like we have opportunities to improve what we have, and for the life of me, I don't know what Mr. I don't know what his reason behind his choices are. I don't know it or why. Like I just don't understand it. But as a Cowboys fan, I got to sit back here and take that which I do no Diddy, which I do not want to, but I'm going to because I want to get to a point where there aren't any assumptions and that what I'm saying to you is real. So when I look at that draft, I'm looking at it like our season is fucked already.
Well, based off of the some of the draft analysts, they've been saying that you guys had a really good draft. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we pretty much everybody had a really good draft. Based off of these analysis I'm seeing, I think the only team they gave a bad grade to was who was I looked at? I think it was the worst one was a C+ on NFL Network one and a C- on another for like Cleveland mainly. And they gave like a couple teams with A's. They gave Washington like A's there. So hopefully on your show, Real Talk Uncensored, we'll get Tone's analysis on that. They gave the Houston Texans an A- on NFL Network one. So I just feel like, let's say it this way. Overall, I've never been a fan of the NFL draft. I think it's an overhyped pick section. You take too long to make one simple selection of a guy that you already know you're going to pick anyway. So you give give someone like, these analysis guys to comment on BS for 20, 30 minutes until a pick is actually made and stuff like that. And if you look at it, it's like the only interesting thing is the first round. After that, it's like no one cares.
No, the next 2 days is like,
yeah.
But you know what? I feel like it's going to be an exciting time for everyone who even we feel like the teams that we gave all these kudos to. It would be an interesting time because nothing sets the tone like if a team doesn't gel. Because Washington, honestly, I'm only invested in them because I can't stand them. But there is a lot that they're continuing with, a lot of new news. Mm-hmm. That I said something to someone who was part of Redskin Nation that you got a lot of new news, and I hope that there's a gelling that takes place. Mm-hmm. I was interested in the first day, and I was super hyped. I watched the second and third day because I was coming here, but I definitely wasn't interested. Like I don't feel like I don't trust Jerry Jones to make the decisions that he's making as it relates to the Cowboys. I feel like if, like I said to you earlier, there are things that just take place. Like people want you and need you and expect you to take advantage of free agency. Mm-hmm. We did not, right? Mm-hmm. People expect you to take advantage of these young hot, big back, strong back college players. We did not. There's a few. Mm-hmm. So there could be a gift and a curse. And it can be in somebody who hates Dallas. Do we need to draft a quarterback? But there are people who might love Dallas and understand like what the bottom line is, right? Mm-hmm. There are people who understand that they're gonna load their team, Washington. they're gonna replace every get. Mm-hmm. There's something that takes place when you get because that means that what's already there is not valued. Now I don't know how Jerry's thinking, but I think on two sides of the coin. What we may need now as is could change if we add something to what we have already. Right. There's people who will change for a new quarterback or change for a new tight end or change when they believe in our running back or change when they believe in the safety. You know what I'm saying? There are things that change. So all we can do is wait because look, what is it, May 9th?
Right now it's April 28th, but
I'm saying like when is the season opening? When is it?
Oh, usually it's in August, or July, or whenever training camp.
You know.
I get you. Well, now we're talking about our team. So your team, you felt like they didn't do well in the draft. I mean, even though they like I said,
I'm going to cut you off. I don't mean I'm not. I don't want to say they didn't do well. I just think that based upon what everyone else was doing, the average person would say we didn't do anything. And that's what I was saying. Like we could understand what we have, but I guess if you look at what Washington's doing, there's a little jealousy that's there. Like we should be. And then you hear, if you watch social media and you watch the news and you watch these analysts that come on and say they ain't do shit, and then you believe that we're okay, but now when they say that, you believe, what should we been doing? We should be doing something. Because we didn't come away with a chip. You didn't come away with a chip. You didn't come away with all these championships last year. So the idea and the thinking is that get all new so we can make it. You know what I'm saying? We might be fine, but we're a people who we follow. We follow, and we're mad because everybody's bringing on these high price and big, and they, we didn't do it. In my eyes, I'm gonna trust the process, but if I look at the lower level shit, I'm mad. I don't think we did enough based upon what's going on.
True, I can understand that.
Okay,
I'm gonna say that was a lot, but I'm gonna say this for my team. I felt like we did what we normally do. We filled needs, and we gotten some players that I felt like that wants to learn. They felt like, hey, Eric DaCosta and John Harbaugh. It feels like, okay, I think they're Ravens, and I was like, okay, The funny thing though is like I said, when it comes to some of these commentators and in the production value of the NFL Network or ESPN or whatever. So when the Ravens drafted Devontae Walker from North Carolina, the comment on his card said inconsistent hands, and I was like, for a fan, it was like, wait. What? This is just like he's a receiver and he has inconsistent hands, and I was like, I don't want to hear that. That's not something I want to hear.
Inconsistent, right?
Yeah. So, and I was flabbergasted because when there was like another draft pick. I forgot who made this draft pick. Where they drafted a running back, and the cards read. He's faster than quick. Oh no, he's quicker than fast. I'm sorry, he's quicker than fast. And I was just like, okay, what's quicker than fast? This is like, I don't get it. Is he the Flash? I don't understand. So again, this is where I felt like production value of the NFL draft just doesn't connect with me. I think with some of the picks, I think the Bears getting Khalil Williams is a good thing, but then again, at the same time, it's to me, it's a wait and see. You did this with Justin Fields when he was there. You made him like the be all, the end all of Chicago quarterbacking, and pretty much you traded him out. Speaking of trading out, this is where I don't understand. The Buffalo Bills had at the time what was it? The 28th pick. At the time, they traded that down to the Kansas City Chiefs to drop them down to 32. The Chiefs end up picking a top speedy receiver that will help out with their crazy offense, which is the last thing you want to do. And then all of a sudden you trade with Carolina to take yourself out of the first round altogether. And I'm thinking, if I were a Bills fan, I'm like, wait, we didn't make any picks? Why? Wait, we got some needs. We lost a top-notch receiver. Our running game is now in shambles. What the fuck? This is like, I don't understand. Like you said with Dallas, it's kind of like, to me, it's like, oh, trust the process. But at the same time, it's like, I'm going to trust the process if you guys traded out of the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So I just felt like that there was some misconnect there. And then, yeah, and then let's add into the debacle in Atlanta, where they just picked up Kirk Cousins for X amount of money for X amount of years. He's going, I believe it was for like 4 years, and their first round picks, they're getting them, big Penix energy, as someone would have said. So they pick up Michael Penix Jr.
Yep. Who all these things are wrong with, but
yeah,
let's do that.
So, and I'm like, wait, I understand you're thinking about the future, but then again, what about your now? Because isn't that why you got Kirk Cousins? And for a good lengthy amount of time? Again, that's where I feel like there's a disconnect there of what you're trying to do here. The building process here. It's just like, I mean, you're trying to, I mean, unless you're going to wait for 3 years until, or either it's like this, you don't trust Kirk Cousins for a long-term reasoning or what have you. And here's the funny thing. Kirk Cousins didn't find out, him and his agent didn't find out until the draft actually happened, because they were not fully aware of it.
Yeah.
So I just think, like I said, there's a lot of question marks with some of the picks here. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, wait and see how they play on the field. But like I said, with the Ravens picks, I was happy with it. Like I said, the needs were filled, especially with the offensive line. We got some decent players, with familiar places. Asada Isaac from Penn State, I'm happy with. Rosengarten is the offensive tackle. Nick Samak is the center. I think having young guys like that, helping out with the offensive line will be a good thing. Now the quarterbacking thing, I think, is just a fill-in thing. I don't think that it'll be, Devin Leary from Kentucky. I mean, it's just something to have. Mind you, we've lost Tyronn Lue. I mean, we lost a couple, Tyrod Taylor, and and stuff like players like that. So, and even though we got one other, but we'll see. And anyway, I digress. I'm angry. So, but anywho.
As you should be.
Yeah, I'm angry at the fact that like the NFL draft is. I mean, it used to be 12 rounds. Not a lot of people used to know that. It used to be 12 rounds. And that
was 172 rounds.
Yeah. So then they cut it down to 7 because of television.
Yeah.
And so just like the NBA, they had like multiple rounds. They had like 7 rounds, but they cut it down to because of television. So, where do you see the NFL draft now, though? Because mind you, there's push to again be at other places. Would you like to see Washington host or host the NFL draft, or if they ever get a spot for it?
Yes. Well, I'm biased because it was in Detroit. So I appreciate it there. So I think the same excitement that I had because I am from Michigan and Detroit is my home team. I would like to see it be here in DC and have Washington to host, or be in Dallas to have Dallas. So like I would like to see it move around, because I think a lot of people, if you think about our conversation last year, right? Everybody was like, with the draft. Nobody cared about the draft. You even said it. They should do away with it. You even said it.
No, not me. It was Tez.
Okay, it was Tez.
Yes.
So with that being said, if you look at these numbers, I know that there was an increase. Yeah. I know that people, even though the playoffs was on, people were switching back and forth between the playoffs and the draft. Because both was equally important. So there's a renewal, I believe, and it's important. So I think that it should move around.
Okay.
Even in places to care for, like New York.
Well, a friend of mine, he went to an NFL draft one year, and he told me it's great to go for like maybe, for a couple picks. But after that, it's kind of like you're just standing around just waiting for picks. Waiting for picks to be here. So, there's not really fully going on unless there's something happening. So if it comes to Washington, there's also rumor that Baltimore might try to get it. So we'll see. But I feel like with where it goes, next year will be in Green Bay. That's the kind of weird thing. Yes, it's gonna be.
I'm with it.
Yeah. Would you go to Green Bay?
Yeah.
for the NFL draft?
I would. Ain't shit in Green Bay for me no more, but I would. All
right.
I would.
Well, that dinging sound means we're wrapping up. Yeah, no problem. Again, shout out to Trump. I know he was on, the bullet train back home. So we'll try to get him back on next time, get his further opinion about the sports game and stuff like that. So Miss Kiki, where can people follow you, find you?
DAWEBSLINGA, the Web Slinger, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, all those places. I am on Real Talk Uncensored on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Come see me. Monday nights at 8 p.m., Real Talk Uncensored with me and Tone. See us there.
Yes. All right. And our Instagram, no _filter _sports _2.5. Yes, it's long and lengthy, but I'm protecting myself, damn it. Cybersecurity. Yes, cybersecurity. As you should. So anyway, hopefully we'll get some more sports dialogue going on in the next couple of months, because there's a lot going on down the line. So, and the Olympics are coming. So, hey, we can talk about the Olympics too. So anyway.
We're here for it.
Yes. So anyway, I'm Brian 3SL. That's Miss Kiki. We'll see you next time. And again, shout out to Trump out in Florida. We'll see you next time here on No Filter Sports. Take care.
Bye.